Welcome to the Amplified Digest. I'm your host, Lars Schmidt, and here I break down some of the top news and trends in all things people in 5 minutes or less. And I want to open with this HBR piece on the importance of work-life support. And I think particularly as we continue to have these conversations in HR around what our office strategy is, what our remote strategy is, what flexibility looks like, it gets into some interesting statistics around the importance of workplace flexibility, in particular for underrepresented employees. And I think that this definitely has to be something that is informing and shaping our talent strategies and our plans as we design them. So a good piece for you to read and some data for you to have as you are working through those conversations internally. If you are recruiting in California, you may soon need to be including comp ranges in your job descriptions. A law was passed. This is going to Gavin Newsom's desk. And if approved and signed, this would include all job postings for roles in California to include salary ranges, joining Colorado and several other states who have begun to do this in a request in an attempt to increase pay transparency and pay equity. And this piece gets into, particularly from a U.S. standpoint, or states that have the highest and worst level of pay equity. And so an interesting piece for you to be considering. Certainly, I think California is one of the largest states, and many of you watching likely are doing some recruiting in California. So keep an eye on this, but beginning soon, later this year, you may need to include comp ranges in job postings. And here's a little hack. Do it anyway. Do it for all your jobs. Why not get ahead of this and other state legislation and allow candidates to make more informed decisions about how the comp side of your opportunity aligns or does not with their needs and expectations? Go figure. Getting into this piece now, it's interesting. We've been having return to workplace conversations for quite some time, and this particular piece and some of the other pieces featured this week get into the idea that, Labor Day is the day. You want to bring people back into the office. People are all over the map with this, and they should be. Companies have to make the decision that is right for them. There's some value in maybe not necessarily locking in stone exactly what this is going to look like in perpetuity, because as the COVID has taught us, we don't really know exactly what will be unfolding in the years to come. But on the other side of that, you do have to have a degree of certainty so employees know what to expect, and prospects that you're trying to recruit know what to expect. And this is a gray area. I think a lot of the press and media want to present this as absolute black or white, and it's not. And so you have to make it a decision that is right for your organization and your employees. You have to communicate that. But again, I think the more flexibility you can bring to that decision, the more nuance to it, the better off you're going to be from a talent perspective. This also kind of gets into some interesting data around LinkedIn postings where remote work was one of the destinations that they can include. And you can see this trending up obviously over time since the pandemic, and lately a bit of a drop off from the trajectory that it had been on. So we'll see how this all plays out. And again, continuing that theme, a lot of organizations marked Labor Day as the day that they wanted to go ahead and bring people back into an office at whatever flexibility and whatever frequency they've decided. Just through my network and through observation, it seems like for companies that are hybrid and flexible, they have 3 days a week in an office, tends to be what I'm seeing the most of. By no means is that default or the standard, but if I had a crystal ball and I wanted to look into the future to see how this is all going to play out, it might look something like, honestly, I don't have any idea. We'll see. So pretty much we will wait and see how this continues to play out. But again, my personal view is that flexibility always wins, but so does clarity. And so having that clear view so your employees know what to expect definitely is a winning strategy. And lastly, for today's digest, I want to spotlight the latest Redefining HR podcast. This was a conversation with Electronic Arts Chief People Officer Mala Singh. And it was a fantastic conversation. She's so interesting. We were able to cover her background, how early career international assignment shaped her view towards work, the role of HR leaders as companies navigate different socio-political events that take place, yacht rock, and a lot more. So you can check out that podcast in the show notes. And in the meantime, that's a wrap for this week. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you next week.